And the chapter name is Two Stories About Flying. Two Stories About Flying has two parts. The first part is his first flight and the second part is the black aeroplane. Here you can see the first part, his first flight is written by the writer Meera Gupta. And the second part, the black aeroplane, is written by Okay. In this video, I will cover the first part, his first flight, and next part will cover in the next video. Okay. Now let us know about the main characters of this story. Here, three characters are main, means three parts are main here. The first character is a young seagull. He is the protagonist of the character. He is the main character of this story. Seagull is a kind of bird who live near a sea, having long feathers, white and grey feathers, long beak and long legs. Okay. The second, his parents, his seagull's parents, seagull mother and father. The next characters are his siblings, means seagull brothers and one sister. Okay, so these are the characters of this story, his first flight. Now let us see the setting of this story, where the story took place. This story took place near the sea, where a family of seagulls live on a lake. What do you mean by lake? Here on the lake, that is cliff. Okay, here I have written that is cliff. Okay, and here also I have written seagull. What do you mean by seagull? Which type of bird is known as seagull? Seagull is a bird that lives near the sea and has short legs, long beaks, and white and grey feathers. Okay. So here, this story is about a seagull, and in this story, the seagull was very afraid to be fly, and his parents, his siblings, all the family were trying to teach him how to learn, but the seagull was afraid. He hasn't have trust on his wings, that whenever he tried to fly, he thought that his wings will not support him. So let us see in the chapter how he was able to fly, or how his parents convinced him and made him trustworthy to have trust on his wings and to learn fly. And finally, he overcome of his fear and able to fly. The whole family, mother, father, and siblings, the whole family were celebrating his victory, and the seagull itself was very happy. So you will read line by line in a PDF format, and I will explain it, and hope you will enjoy this story. And this story, after reading, will definitely motivate you to do something in your life. And definitely, this story teaches us that if we have potential in ourselves, no obstacles will come in front of us to achieve our target. Okay, so we should fight our fear. We should not afraid, and it is said that fear is fear itself. Unless we will able to overcome our fear, the fear will stop us from doing anything. So we should have potential, and we should learn from this chapter. Okay, so let us read this chapter. Okay, now let us see the first part, his first flight. Okay, I'm going to read this chapter line by line and you should understand it. The young the young seagull was alone on his lace. His two brothers and sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the lace and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. This story is about a young seagull who is at that stage of life where he has to learn to fly. Unlike his younger brothers and sisters, he is too afraid to fly. When all of them went for flying for the first time near the edge of the sea, all of them except him succeeded. And the seagull became afraid of flying. Now next, the great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would not support him. When the seagull was trying to fly at that time, by looking at the sea was very deep, very wide, and he became afraid. He felt that his wings would not support him to make him fly. So, what happened? The seagull went back away into his little lace where he slept at night. Okay, now next, means here you can say he couldn't trust his wings. He got terrified by the vast sea and got convinced that he could never fly. As a result, he was ashamed and disheartened and thus went inside the lace where usually he slept. Okay, now next, even when, here you can see, even when each of his brother, wait, okay, even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, and he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. Here, in this line, the writer wants to say that his younger siblings managed to take their first flight, despite their wings being shortened than seagull. But he couldn't summon the courage, though he tried so desperately. He was scolded by his parents too. Here you can see his father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him to stand on his lace and unless he flew away. But for the life of him he could not move. Okay, means here you can say his brother and mother also tried to means convince him to be fly, but he was tired, he was afraid, and he couldn't fly. Even he was scolded by his parents for not trying again, but he was so afraid that he could not even move. Okay, okay, now next, that was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about his brother and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the webs and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it standing on a rock while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on a big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with the cowardice. Okay, now here you can see that now the seagull had been alone for a day after he tried, because his parents were busy focusing on his siblings. The parents were helping the others, brothers and sister, to fly. They helped his siblings master the art of flying and diving for food, and that food is fish. His older sibling even caught his first fish, which he proudly ate a rock while his parents celebrate it. That morning his parents taunted him all the way for being a coward. Means now he was called by his parents a coward. Okay. Okay. Now the next line is, the sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his leg that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on the leg with the other leg hidden under his wings, he closed on one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. Still, they took no notice of him. He saw his brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was peering the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. Now here you can see the sun had now risen and he was feeling the heat more than ever because he was empty stomach. He didn't eat anything since the night before. He stepped out of his lace and pretended to sleep on his leg to gain the attention of his family. Still, no one noticed him. His siblings were sleeping, his father was cleaning his feathers with his beak, and his mother was standing on another plateau eating fish while she noticed him. Means at that time only mother was noticing him. Okay. Okay, now next line. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Okay, now here you can see the seagull got mad on seeing the fish because he was very hungry. He didn't eat anything earlier. He loved to tear away fish and scrape his beak now and then. Means he was trying to catch the fish. He was trying to eat the fish. He was trying his 100% to reach near the fish, so that add he can eat, but it was not possible for him, and only what is the left only means he was standing there only and watching the fish but was unable to eat it. Okay, now the next para is ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Ga call a, she screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapped the rock, tapping the rock with his feet and trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Now, what happened? After that, he cried in hunger to his mom, to his mother, while his mother screamed back angrily, but he kept crying, which soon turned into a joyful scream at the sight of his mother flying towards him. He became very happy seeing that his mother flying towards him with the piece of fish. Then he got excited as she came nearer and thus leaned forward. The seagull leaned forward. Suddenly she stopped, not too far from him. Means she stopped as she was about to reach seagull, she stopped there. Okay. Out of excitement and hunger, he dived at the fish without realizing for a moment that he was afraid to fly. Means at that time he forgot that he was unable to fly because he was very hungry and he wanted that fish, and that's why seeing her mother fetching fish for him, he forgot that he couldn't fly, and he just went nearer to her mother to take that fish. Okay, now after that you can see here the next para. With a loud scream he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings. After that, he was so much excited that he fell as soon as he tried. As soon as he tried to catch that fish, he fell. For a moment he was in shock and stood still out of terror. All this lasted only for a moment, and soon his feathers opened as he flight. He could feel the wind against his breast feathers, stomach, and his wings. He could feel himself cutting through the air. He was not afraid any more. He was just a bit nervous, but then his mother accompanied him. The whole family screamed out of excitement, thus celebrating his victory over fear. Okay, now completely after that you can see here the next line. completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. Means at that time he fully forgot that earlier he was not able to fly, and this that hunger made him fly. Okay, and once he overcome his fear, he forgot that he was once afraid of it. He did all those things he once feared. He flied straight over the sea and could see the greenery and the mountains beneath him. He screamed out of joy as he enjoyed the victory. Okay, now next you can see here next his his parents and his brother and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with the hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish he had made his first flight. Now, after that, when he landed, his family landed along with him. As a gesture that they were proud, they were screaming and shouting in excitement in their high pitched voices. He then went into the sea, where at the first he got scared and thus panicked. He tried escaping but got tired and weak because of hunger. Thus, when he calmed down, he started floating in the sea he was once afraid of. His family was celebrating his excitement and offered him food as praise as appreciation. Finally, he had overcome his fear and had enjoyed his first flight. So, the chapter is finished here. Now you can see how the little seagull learned to fly, and means he was having the potential, but he was afraid. He thought that his wings would not support him to be flight, but that hunger made him fly, and finally he overcome of his fear and he made his successful first flight. Okay, now here you can see I have given this the difficult meaning. Okay, now go through that meaning, and you can just note down. If there is any problem, you should ask it. Okay, the meaning is here, you can see it. Now chapter is finished. Next part I will conclude in next video. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.